October 1st. Can you believe it? We are now officially in fall. Though we were in fall, I think 2 weeks ago or pretty close to it. Look at this. Got my peppers back there. I had moved them because they got so burned from all the heat we had. We were like 20 to 28 degrees hotter than normal, they said, for our area. So it took a toll on some plants, but not too bad. Hi, this is Robbie from Southern California, and this is going to be a garden tour. You'll see what I've done and what I haven't done. Wait a minute. I've got a ginger coming up in one of my turmeric. There must have been a little piece in there when I planted all this. So this is the second, or I guess, and third table to grow turmeric, because turmeric has been growing really, really well. Look, there's only one pile left. We've kind of gotten rid of the second pile. Once that's gone, we'll see if we want to get any more. We're not sure. We don't really use it because we have so many plants that we can harvest the leaves from already. Now down there I grew some squash, but a lot of squash plants don't like being cramped, and see, it's in a cage. It never grew anything. I mean, it never threw female fruit. Really wasn't happy on the ground. Will I try it again? I might. And then that is the basket that had all the weeds in it. It's still growing Swiss chard. We've had Swiss chard all summer with no soil in there. All the weeds compacted down, broke down, and we've been feasting off of that. Let's look at my favorite garden of them all, my chair garden. I absolutely love this. Low maintenance is just perfect. I come in here, I have it all watered in a matter of under a minute, and then all I have to do is stand and go through my plants, take off any leaves I don't like. That one's still good. I've topped all this up. I actually did a video on that. And then in the winter, I will go through it. I still have to get that cucumber off. I did remove the squash last night for dinner, so we're done with that. And see, I can let the squash go or trim it out and maybe let this brassica take off, and I'll have greens all winter in this tote. This is amazing. This was put together in this early spring of 2020. So I've had growing in here all spring in 2020, 21, 22, 23, and 24. That's 5 growing seasons in this chair garden. And the reason I have to have a chair garden, I'm going to do a lot of videos on this because you really need to do this if you've got issues. You have no tree roots getting into your plants. That really robs a lot of nutrients, especially from vegetable plants. No gophers can get in here. The occasional squirrel can jump up here, and if they find that they've got a place they like, I just put out my irrigation tubing or tomato stakes and I just wrap it in tulle. That's been up now since, well, what, 8 months? Just sitting there protecting my plants. They don't like the feel of the tulle. And that's all I have to do. And there's nothing else. I mean, it takes care of itself. I can put soil from the ground in there, and then that adds in earthworms, because even though I may not see earthworms, what you want to do is pick a pot and move it. And usually under there you might find earthworms, or at least there'll be earthworm eggs, even if you don't see it, and then they'll hatch. But this is my favorite. Let's keep going so we can go through everything. This is done. It's still trying to throw watermelon. It's not. Keep in mind, this is great for shade. It's lasted all spring and summer. See, they're still trying to grow, but even if they did grow a watermelon, we got one good watermelon out of it, it's too late because we're going to go into winter in 3 months and it's going to need more warmth, and we don't have a lot of hot nights. But all in all, it's doing okay. I think I'll take all the tops off and get that set up and then keep going with that. The ponds, I can't do much. We have raccoons that come at night and they tear everything apart. So I've let the stuff that's growing there that they haven't touched do its thing, and then in the winter maybe I'll kind of think about how I want to do this. I do leave out a bowl for wildlife that comes through here and drinks from there, and that's what I do here. I still have some wildflowers growing. Look at that, I've got the forget-me-nots. A little lizard over here too. He lives here, but there's the blue forget-me-nots, and then I got the 4 o'clocks, which are these. They came up. And I've got geraniums. I've got some tobacco plant. I believe that's what this is. It will throw a flower that the hummingbirds like. And of course my moringa. And they come in here all the time. But it's all in all, it's doing good. I've got some rosemary. I've got elephant food that I put in there. All that, I'm going to put more in the blocks, is walking onions, my pomegranates, which I've been eating pomegranates. So that's been really good. I've got another one here. And there's some pomegranates on. Oh, it's full of pomegranates, this one. To think I grew this from seed. Years ago, I used to sell this stuff on eBay. I'd send them like 10 plants for $10. Look at that. They are so easy, really, to grow. So that's what's going on here. And it's got a lot of duckweed and different weeds growing on top, but it's full of fish. So all in all, everybody's doing okay. The geranium looks like it's getting a little dry. The wall, I didn't do much this year. I had some tomatoes. I've got a tomato plant there. It's kind of fizzled out. I'm going to clear this up all through the winter. I'm not pulling anything out. I'm going to just get rid of whatever is not growing anymore. That will be my fall and winter job. And fill this up with leaves. You saw, just like the Swiss chard that's growing in that basket that Gary put up. He puts them up all over his garden. And then come early spring, I'm just going to start pushing seeds in here. And whatever grows will be really strong and let them grow. Here I'm going to probably set up totes. And I did not do anything. I used to grow potatoes in buckets in here, but I'm going to change this up. Got a moringa that came up from seed. This beautiful in the tote. Again, I'm probably going to put more totes here. So I'll get some 18-gallon totes and line them up in there. And as I'm cleaning, I'll throw everything in there. I can even take from those containers that are on chairs and put them here. And I'll keep the holes on the side. I have to, because of all these trees that are around here. What they do is they rob the vegetable plants of nutrients, and they send their roots into containers. They'll even do it in your garden if you've got a lot of plants. Think about that. If you try to garden and you don't know why they're not making it, sometimes what's going on is the trees that are around you are sending their roots in there and pulling the nutrients, and then your garden won't grow. And a lot of people have come back to me and said, oh my gosh, for years I've been trying to grow a garden. It starts to grow and it stops. That's what it is. But when you've got it in totes, and they don't have to be on chairs, just make sure the hole is up. You can leave about an inch from the bottom. You don't want to put any holes on the bottom or the roots will go straight in. And I've got videos on that like galore. And they will just rob the plant. They'll actually kill the plants. So here I will line up probably totes. I'll put holes on the side about an inch up, make sure it's not touching the soil so no roots can get in. And I could probably get maybe 5 totes in each one. We'll see how I set that up. Here I just let it grow. It's got Malabar spinach, Swiss chard growing, garlic chives, walking onions, celery. It's all done. And I'll do the same thing as I come through, clean a lot of this out, and they will go into the totes. So when spring comes, I'm not desperately looking to fix things. You know, how am I going to get everything ready to plant? It'll already be ready to go. Milkweed came up, celery, more Malabar spinach, which I only use in green drinks, Swiss chard. See, all this, I didn't do anything. This is all wild because this, I haven't decided how much of this is going to go. Pulled some of those from there, and I don't know how far down I want to go. I'm trying to make garden life a little easier, but then I'm thinking of changing up again, a big, big change. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes when we get there. So let's keep walking. The tree collard, the best thing to do with this one, it's in this bucket, is, boy, did it set root? No, it did not. I can trim all the leaves off and I can chop them up and put them in the ground and regrow them. Or I can take the shoots off and regrow those because that's going to go too. And Gary put that pole there years ago. Maybe we'll put a gate here. And then I wouldn't have to worry about if Zoe comes out the door, this will all be gated. And actually, with a good gate, this would be close to coyote proof. Though I'd never leave her out here, I would just know if she runs out the door, I won't have a problem. Then I've got my black cobras. Oh my gosh. This plant is at least 4 years old, if not older. And it's still growing. I get a little nervous moving it. I'll have to check to see if the roots have set into the ground because I'd like to move it somewhere. Maybe I can move it. I don't know. What I'm going to have to do is step back and maybe set a camera on it and check the lighting, because just because it grows good there actually doesn't mean it would grow good there. That may get more light or less light than that spot. Every single spot you plant in is basically a microclimate. And you have to remember that. See how it's shaded here? And that's what's going on. Everything's a microclimate. Whatever's growing really good there loves its conditions, whether it's the temperature, whether it's the sunlight, the shade, I don't know. But every plant is different. But I would love to move that plant. But then the other option is leave it. Just plant some more, put some seeds there and in some other pots and get another one going and leave that one and slowly move all these out. That's probably the smarter option because it's doing so well. Why change it? You know, that's what they say. So I think I'm going to leave it. With these, I'm still debating on where they're going to go. And I mean, we were talking about leaving them here, but if I clear out all this, I don't even have to come here and think about watering. Or I can just leave this because the hose is right there and I know I can come through here and then water up to a certain point, maybe stop there and then clear all that out. Not because I'm trying to save any of these plants, it's not a big deal, but a lot of this is, there's sorrel, green sorrel, there's a lot of oregano, there's parsley, there's celery, there's Swiss chard, all this is growing all over. So a lot of that can be moved. If I found a better place for it, I definitely would move it. But this grows lettuce, and I grow lettuce all summer, and there's no lettuce here right now. I think the birds ate a lot of that, and I didn't cover anything. The only thing I covered, look at the popolo growing on the ground, and then we get mustard all through here that's gone right now. It's forming heads. Look at it. I don't even want to uncover it. I think there's 3 of them in there. There's one there. There's one there. There might be 4, but and then there's one there. This is purple cabbage. Now, I made this top, and nothing, as far as I can see, got in there. And that's what's doing really good. I would love to get, even if they're small heads, we'll see how the weather goes, but see how the head is. Oh, no, I just made a hole. You know what, I'll come back and patch it. Oh, yeah, I've got a head. Now, I've got to make sure I just put my finger through this because this is a 2-year-old top. So I'll get some more tulle and just put it over there. There's a couple different ways of doing it. I could staple it on, or I could just come out with a hot glue gun and put some glue around there and just push a piece of tulle on. But that is, or I can put another top on top of that top. So there's different ways of doing it. But you better remind me to get that covered because right now I have kept every insect out. So that could stay here. It's been here for quite a few years, the setup. 2 metal chairs I bought online from Walmart, and then I just put something Gary found in the trash from some bed, like a bed frame thing, not even a frame, just a plastic something. And then it held 3 totes, and they're doing really good. So I'm going to have to see what I'm going to do here. My avocado tree that's been growing in the tote, notice the holes are not underneath. It's on the bottom 1 inch up, so it has not left the roots. The roots, I should say, have not left. Got really badly burned at that heat wave that we had. That was about, what did they say? We were 111. And that's hot for this area. So it didn't do that well. But it's going to make a comeback. It's still green and it's got new growth growing. And I don't know where to put it, this plant. It's just so pretty. And I've got an idea of what I'm going to do with a lot of my avocado seeds that are coming up. They come up everywhere. And I know some of you cringe when I go, I've got to compost it. I don't want to grow avocados from seed. I'd rather do it differently, grafting. But here's the thing. I'm starting to think I'm going to use them, and I'm going to use them to create microclimates. So if I let it just grow, I can have different plants that want a little bit of shade underneath. I just have to make sure I have the space. And then another pomegranate tree, not planted, came up in my strawberry basket or strawberry bucket here. And it's just growing. And if I ever get it in the ground, and maybe I can find a place for it, I'll get more pomegranates. I'm eating the pomegranates. But that's what's going on here. Let's go in the front yard. So now we're in the front yard. Again, I haven't done too much, but Gary's been working here. So he found that table. He didn't find it. The table was over there, and it was creating an issue that Gary wanted out. So he went ahead, and he put that there. Let's walk over there. Oh, I've got stuff falling everywhere. And this has worked out really good to move some of the ginger or turmeric over here and then decide what I want to do with some of these planters. But no squirrels or anything can hide now. He kind of covered it all up. And that's what he was working on here. A lot of this stuff, it just needs to be groomed. Again, this is going to be my winter job. So as I'm looking in the garden during the winter when we're not planting, I can come out here and start to pull a lot of stuff out that I don't want and maybe load it in the totes. Now, let me step back here so you understand what's going on. Is this not beautiful? Look at this. So something ate the top, and this looks like squirrel. Look at that. Shoot up the beautiful new growth. Why not? I could fix that. All I have to do is make a little tent and just tie on some tulle, and I think I will do that because I've been using this, and then that will stop that. They won't eat that. Now, stepping back here, you have to remember why I don't grow all my giant zucchini that I used to grow here. And that's because our sequoias, no, they're not. Our pine trees have just taken off. They are so big. Look, they're so full of pine cones. You have to be careful. You really need a hard hat here. No joke. They're going to start falling like mad. Maybe I'll make some winter decorations or bird feeders out of them. So I can't grow as much because the climate in this yard has changed. The growing conditions have changed. See the table? I'm going to cover that and put some chairs around it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but we'll see. And that's what's going on here. We've got 3 giant trees, not counting the palm tree. And these trees have gotten so massive. And you know what's really cool? The city comes out and inspects them. And if they see anything wrong with them, they pay to take them out, which has been really nice. And they came and they said, no, they're absolutely beautiful and healthy. So they've left them, and that's okay. I didn't plant them. The previous owner of this house, I actually remember the day he planted them. Oh my goodness. 30, let's just say he planted them in, I believe, 1989, I think he planted them. And they were little trees, about 5 foot tall, little sticks. And there was another one there that the electric company came and took out. They wanted to take them both, but they said they'll take the one because of the power lines here, and it had to go. So they removed that one about 4 years ago, give or take. So anyways, when he planted them, I mean, there was nothing I could say. It was his property, and that's why, they're here. They were not here, but they sure are thriving, and they're beautiful. They look really nice against the house. Kind of gives this house a cabin feel. Isn't that beautiful with the windows, the glass windows on the top? Because this house was built in 1950, so it's an older style, but whoever built it wanted that cabin look, but they didn't have the pine trees, and now they've got pine trees, and, oh my goodness, I think there's birds up there. The palm tree is there too. Now the palm tree is fun. I love that because what happens is we get all kinds of birds in there, and the other day a woodpecker came, and I've got to show you what he did. I was in the house and I came running out because I could hear him, and he was climbing around and he was storing acorns. Hence his name is the acorn woodpecker. And he was making holes or finding holes in the palm tree where he could just push it in. And why is he doing that? He'll have winter food. Will he remember to come back? Well, I guess because they forage all the time and they do live here. But he was tucking them in, and it was just such a sight to see. Actually sat here on this old chair that I used to grow plants on, and when I moved it, I get Walmart deliveries, and they started putting everything on that chair, and I thought, I'll just leave it. So I didn't put a tote back there, but I was sitting on the chair, and I was just sitting up here watching him, holding my head straight up because that thing is massive, and just watching him store his acorns. Really cute. I just love nature around here. So it's just beautiful. Anyways, let's see. Now this is all the geraniums. I love geraniums now. Why? No work. They just want to grow everywhere. Look at that. And then this is my greenhouse window that I finally have gotten to. And I've got some of my house plants I picked up really cheap or free, pieces you find in the street. And I've kind of salvaged them and cleaned them up, and they are doing really good. And I gave some to my granddaughter too. And then here's the back of what Gary did. Here he wants to build just a little 2-foot retaining wall. And then here is cement. I can put whatever I want here. I can put totes, I can put chairs, I can put nothing. We'll see how that goes. And that's that. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So now I've got more turmeric there and garlic chives. And I think this is flat leaf parsley. And then this is sow thistle that the birds love. And when I see it, I leave it. Now, The birds will eat this. This is seed, so the goldfinches eat this, but the hummingbirds in the spring use that to line their nests. It's like cotton. It's just gorgeous. And then here is my table. So I've got the turmeric table that's growing, and I'm trying to separate some of the plants and move them around. And then I've got my ginger. I want to get more ginger growing this year. So when I go to harvest it and take everything out when it dies back, because that's the time you really want to do it. Because your tubers, your rhizomes underneath on all of these will be at their potential size and big because they're storing everything in there to come back when the weather warms up. If you harvest it now, they'll be there. Oh, I do reach in and harvest a lot. See the ginger on the top there? Of course I harvest it now. Here's more ginger pushing up, but there'll be more later. But if I need ginger now, I reach in and use it, or turmeric. And then what I'm going to do, as I was saying, is I'm going to collect more and get more ginger spread through here. And maybe now that I've got the table here, I can grow some here because it was too sunny before, but now it is protected a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. And we'll do the table again because that table has been fantastic. I had put up the totes here, or I should say the dish pans that used to be $3 that they've now raised to 5-ish. But I've grown carrots in there and radishes and all kinds of greens in there. I've got brassicas coming up, beets I've grown here. Everything grows here. It's been so easy because you just walk over and take care of one thing. All right, so let's go here. This is the gate that Gary put up a few months ago. So if Zoe comes here, she's not going anywhere. See, she can run through here. Oops, see? And all she can do is run over here, and I open the gate, and then she can go into the bird garden. I'm going to have turmeric everywhere because we've grown thousands of turmeric. And this is doing pretty good too. Isn't that nice? But that's what they're doing. They're just sitting here. Now let's go into the bird garden. Oh my. So I've got orange mint on the ground here. Orange mint growing in that pot and in that tote. This is just purslane. And then I've got chocolate mint there. That one I didn't plant in yet. Still debating on what I'm going to do in here. And this one, I bought this. Let me see. I think it's pineapple sage. It had little red flowers. I don't know if it's done. I don't know how long it lasts for. I don't know anything about it, but I've got walking onions, geraniums in there in pots. I'm layering. And then I've got the garlic chives that have these flowers that all your pollinators love. It's early, so there's not a lot of bees and stuff out. They're just starting. And then I've got chocolate mint back there. You know what? Let's make this quick and just walk through. Here, I think I'll clean this up and start out. I think we're going to kind of start all over with this. Gary said it's tipping. Something got under here, probably a squirrel, and kind of tipped it. So I'm going to change things up. These are the traveler tomatoes. And, you know, it was fun to try, but my mistake was, and I did make a mistake, I grew too many. And they're kind of like, they don't do as good here as cherry tomatoes do. And there's another one there. They're kind of like, they're not real crazy about our weather, I guess. So maybe we're too dry. I don't know. Look at this. I don't know what it is. I think it's a hybrid. I had a fig leaf gourd in the middle that never really grew. This is it. Then one came up from seed, probably compost, and it probably is a hybrid because the fruit is white. This is ready. See, the tendril is already brown. Then I've got one back there, another one. And then there's another one that's back there. So there's 3 of them, and I should try them and see if I like them. I'm not real big on fig leaf gourd. You can use them early, but I still like zucchini the best. Then, of course, I've got all my tree colored. And a lot of this I think I'm going to move as I start to set up the bird garden because I'm kind of losing my canyon view here, which is fine. I don't have time to sit and watch it anyways, but I can redo this a little differently by bringing it down and taking these, and you think they're big, they are, but you can chop it here, remove almost all the leaves, and just put it in the ground and it will grow. I've had full-size plants that Gary has moved. As far as dragon fruit, they're everywhere. I gotta be careful so I don't get stuck. Look at that. All through there, can you see all the dragon fruit? I don't even know if you can see all through there. It's all red. Everywhere you look, even behind the wall, I haven't been able to get back there. It's been just too bushy and stuff. But it's all through here. So we have tons of dragon fruit. And yes, Gary has to come out at night and hand pollinate. There's more all through there. Hundreds. And this is all one little plant that's right here. There is another couple plants, I think, on the other side of the wall. I'm not sure how many, 2, maybe 3. But this plant that goes all through here is one plant that I planted here. I'm going to say 5 years ago, somebody gave me a piece and I planted it in a pot, a plastic floral pot, but the bottom's got a big hole, so it set its roots in the ground. And then the first year or two, it just took off growing. And then after that, it's just so full of fruit. Look at that. Everywhere you look, there's fruit, and we've been harvesting and eating it every night. And then again, more turmeric all through here. What's behind me? Oh, you know about this. This is the hummingbird's lunch. It was a piece that broke off. I stuck it in a pot and it grew into a massive plant. There's a hibiscus I bought, and then this is a mushroom plant. That mushroom plant is getting too much sun, so I have to move it. And then red vein sorrel. If you want to try something really different, they're really hardy, and all I have to do is dig in from the bottom because it spreads, and you can create more plants. Plus, it also goes to seed. Let's see over here. I'm going to redo some of this. I need a couple feeders changed. I need to add feeders. And then, of course, I'm going to change all this. I've been clearing it out more and more. I'm going to have this whole section here with bird feeders, like this is with the rebar, and I'm thinking of bringing more rebar here, but I don't want to lose my view. So I'm going to see. I might set up bird feeders differently there. I've got ideas of how to make bird feeders that will be really cute and portable and protected from the hawks so that small birds can come in. More totes to bring in insects, little fruit flies and stuff, because there's been a shortage of insects this year, believe it or not. So I'm not sure what's going on. It's been very different. And then here, I'll see what happens when the fig tree loses its leaves. If I can wind it around, remove some of the branches that I put here to protect the small birds from hawks, and maybe I can bring live fig trees through here, though it could create even a bigger hassle for me by covering up the feeders. I don't know. Or I'll just use the branches because they're real bendable. Bend them the way I want, and then they'll just dry up. I know you can't see, but there's like 100 birds sitting in that back fig tree there. That one, and then back there is the avocado tree. They're just loaded in there. I can see the movement coming through. And then here is just some plants that were left in pots. This is an emu bush. It's a yellow flower. And then I've got here hummingbirds lunch is growing through here. Salvias are growing through here, which hummingbirds love salvias. This I planted. This is chia seed, like you would eat for breakfast or whatever you want to eat it with. It grows a beautiful purple flower. It's still growing. And then let's go on this side. Anyways, these were 3 plants that were so small and they just took off, and I've got to trim them back. But every time I do cuttings off of them, that's why I don't want to throw it away. Look, I take some pieces off, they grow. And it's like, I don't want to trim it because I know how to do the cuttings from here. Because every time I trim them and I compost them, I'm losing a plant. I've got to really stop doing that. But I do. It's like, no, I'll have to trim it when I have time to set them up. Look at my papaya. I hope it makes it, nothing chews it to pieces. That was a papaya that was growing, well, it was growing in the back, but I think I found it in the bucket a couple years ago, and I put it back there, and it was just not doing well, so I moved it to the front, and it's been here. You didn't even see it because it's been covered up by all the plants, but it has been here all year, and I'm hoping it's going to grow up along here, but we'll see, because that would be really nice to have a papaya here. Brassicas coming up everywhere. A lot of them need a good trimming. Then here, see, I just stick in hummingbirds lunch in different pots. And if they've got the right conditions, they just root and grow. There's another little piece I stuck in there, this one, and hopefully that makes it. And then I've got them growing here. These are not plants I bought. These are all propagated. And then look at this, red roselle. It's going to open up soon. I planted that. Isn't that beautiful? And I want to clear this and get more geraniums. Now, what's happening to the geraniums back here? See how there's a lot of brown? It's not getting enough sun. And the geraniums like hot sun. So I'll have to think of something else I want back there. But the tree colors would be good to plant. But see how they go up? They're trying, hold on. Ah, nuts. It's not right. And when I come back tomorrow, it'll be gone. The mockingbirds are coming in and eating my figs. see what it does? They grow straight up and then they bush out on the top when they hit the sun. So I still want to get something. I mean, I could put ferns back there, but I don't think I want to do ferns. If I do too much cover, I only make places for rodents to hide. So I want to have something that goes up. I'll try a different geranium back there. And I do have some geraniums that prefer a little bit more shade, and that might be something I can do. But that's what's going on there. This is just the ones I put in last year. They were little pieces. I don't know if you remember watching the video, but last fall I put those in. So they're a year old now. Look how big they are. All three of them are so big. They just went straight for the sky. And then let's see here. The tomato, I'm thinking of moving this. And I want because I want to see the Mexican sage. The hummingbirds feed on this all day, and I saw goldfinches on it yesterday too. So they're getting something out of the flowers. They're probably got a little seed, and the goldfinches must like them. I don't know. They've been hanging out on there. But if I move this, I'll be able to see more. All the pollinators are starting to come out. If I move that, I'll be able to see this. This is a plant that Gary stopped somewhere. There was a landscaper, and he gave him a piece, and then I planted it in there. And I actually have a cutting that's sitting on that table that's growing. And so it was a free plant. Look how massive and big it is. And it's in this old dog crate that we got years ago. These were kennels that a pet store was throwing them out, and Gary went and picked them up. I've told the story 100 times. So we never used them for dogs, but we grew in them. Well, there it is. There's the plant, and it's just growing there. Isn't that gorgeous? Let's see. Here, I'm starting to clean this up. I've got all my walking onions. I've got zinnias growing everywhere. Look at this. All I have to do is drop some seeds, and I save the seeds. Then I've got milkweed back there, which needs to be cut back. It's got a lot of little bugs right now. So we want to get that cut back, but I want to make sure there's no more monarchs coming through. And I think in about a month, I'll do that job. And then again, see what I did? This is my fault. This year, all the tomatoes I planted, there's another big one back there. I mean, they're fine, but they're not as prolific. If I put in cherry tomatoes, it could be the bigger ones, it could be tiny ones, it doesn't matter. You get a ton of tomatoes. This grows like a big tomato. And they just have to get bigger and bigger and bigger until they turn red. And I don't want to wait for them. So next year, if this dies back, it goes out. And I'm going to just have native, when I say native, things that come up in my own garden are usually cherry tomatoes, or I'll get a bunch of different types of cherry tomatoes because I get far more production of cherry tomatoes than any big tomato or traveler's tomato. The reason this is called a traveler's is when it gets big, it turns red. You can break each of these segments off, and the tomato itself stays intact. It comes off like grapes. It's cool and it's nice, but in my opinion, for me, it's a waste of time. I want food to eat, and that's what I did the other day. I went into my chair garden, took off a whole bunch of tomatoes, and made a casserole that Gary went crazy over. And it was all done with tomatoes and greens and different things from around the garden. I'd never done it before. And he said, "This is so good." I said, "Yeah, because I'm using cherry tomatoes and we have so many." Is this not beautiful, this hybrid? Look at this. Look how purple it is. Use that for my green drinks. There's so much back here. I need trimming. Isn't this gorgeous? This is a forest of food. This you don't eat. But look at all that. That's all edible. And then let's see what's going on here. Got my lemon verbena growing back there, and no, the birds just hang out. See, the bees are finally coming out now. Started this a little early. The bees don't like to get up early. They wait until it warms up. And then I've got some dragon fruit. I think that's a grafted one Gary gave me. And then I've got my honeysuckle I bought back there. You can't see it. And then walking onions all through, different things all through here. And that's what's really cool. And then over here, these are baby walking onions, and they're taking off. And this is from last year, so they're throwing their own babies. See how walking onions grow? All these are individual plants. So I'm starting to collect them, and I put some in pots here. And that I did a while ago, and then there's more in there. And that's what I'm doing. Hold on. I have a hornworm. Wait a minute. I think I see. My workers are gone. You know who my workers are? The Orioles. Oh my gosh. They will go through. I'm probably getting the sun in your eyes. They will go through. Look at this. I love this plant. It's throwing tons and tons of tomatoes. Now, will that hornworm, that one hornworm kill my plant? No, but he's going to take off what I want. I think I've got some tomato, what do I have? I've got those tomato plants that are in the driveway, and I might move them, that are not growing way up by the pond. He can go there because he's getting close to cocooning and do his thing, because I think we're pretty much done with hornworms. We've literally, Gary brought that up, this year, maybe seen a whole total possibly of 5 hornworms. That's the 5th one. We don't see hornworms. Is there any here? Oh, I do see. There could have been. This is a very sparse plant. Okay, I don't see a hornworm on here, but being on this side where the birds hang out in the lemon verbena, I wouldn't be a bit surprised that some of the birds haven't come and taken it off, because it's just a little bit of damage, and yet I don't even see a small one. But see, the small tomatoes keep growing, and that's the thing, and those other tomatoes don't. That's why I don't grow big tomatoes, because what am I going to get on there? 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 big tomatoes, and if I grow a tomato that's a type of cherry tomato, I can get hundreds and constantly have food, like every day. You go out there and you can find the tomato. That just needs to be groomed and more cuttings off my purple tree collard. And that's what I'm going to put along here, different tree collards. So I'm getting there. I've cleared all this out, collecting branches, which will go in totes, and some of this will be moved. I don't know if this will make it. I just kind of stuck it in there. It's a brassica off of that, but I got to get that propagated, because this one is a fabulous plant. I used to call it my pride and joy. Has big green leaves, so I want to get more propagated. Though I have this one, I've got some back there and even some in pots. Let's see what's going on there. Gary still has plants in there. He never moved. I'm not going to go in there right now. More turmeric. Look at my beautiful purple Russian kale. I take cuttings off of this all the time. It's doing really good this year. It's kind of winding everywhere. It's very Art Deco, isn't it? Isn't that gorgeous? Covers up the mess of the house that we never kind of finished. A lot of this was that way when we bought it, and it's going to cost too much to do, but we're doing little bits. Gary plastered there. He stuccoed there, and he's eventually going to finish stuccoing. We got this house long before we started YouTube, and I think I've told the story. It's a long story. You can go watch the video. But this house is an old house, and it was a big, big fixer-upper. There was nothing on the inside. There wasn't even a kitchen. And it was on my property. It just was in the 50s. Nobody surveyed. They just built. So we got a really good deal when it went into like a probate type thing. The lawyers sold it to us for a really good deal, and we bought it. And this is, like I said, way before we started YouTube. So we use this as land, but we do use the house. And little by little, Gary's done fabulous in the kitchen. He built a beautiful kitchen. Baby walking onions. Look at this. I just put this in here about a week ago. Is this not beautiful? Look how gorgeous they're growing. So I need to do more, and this is what I do. I'm collecting them, and I cannot leave them to dry out. There's no water in there right now. I'm going to put this, it'll be fine. But it really, you got to get them planted right away, because all these will grow, but if they dry out, that's goodbye walking onions. So you want to get them planted. Oh, this is my papaya. No fruit, has ripened yet. We're getting ready to move this, as you can see. This is going to go on the other side of the yard, because I think I want to keep this for plants. Probably put some water features here, unless I decide to put something else, because I've got the swing here. But this I'm going to move. So we'll see. But anyways, going back to the papaya. Look, look, look. Got a lot of papaya up there, and more starting, and there's even more flowers. So we'll see how that goes. Can I reach this? Oh, this is the leaf. Okay, it got burned. I thought it was a leaf that's coming off. All right, so this got burned too from the heat, but it's doing beautiful. I was so worried, if you go back and watch the garden tour in the winter, that it was dead. It was gone. There was nothing left of this, and I thought, oh no. But it made a beautiful comeback. And what I've done here is I'm planting geraniums. Now I want to trim this. I dragged this over and I planted it in this container here. I want to protect the base. See what it did? It grew. I didn't put it there. In an 18-gallon tote, it broke through and it set its roots out, which I'm glad it did. Now, if I protect the base, I'm hoping it will keep it warm or protected in the winter. And then maybe it will make it through this winter. It will depend on how harsh our winter is. But it made it through. It came back, and it's doing really good, and I'm happy. And then I showed you my moringa with my purple Russian kale growing all through the moringa. And boy, do I use these leaves every day in a green drink. Let's see. Malabar spinach is coming through here. Let's go out. We're almost done. Almost. Now we're here. Now hold on, I want to close the gate. Strawberries, not real pleased with these. These were supposed to be sea gates. Sea gates do not send runners off. So when I bought them off of eBay, they sent me the wrong ones, and they produce these little tiny nothing strawberries. Sometimes you'll get a little bit bigger, but sea gates don't produce that way. They spread, kind of like your red vein sorrel. And so I don't know what I'll do. I'll decide in the spring what I'm going to do with them, but I'm not getting any production off of it, not to speak of. This is my potato mint. I have to keep it protected because the rabbits love it. So the rabbits won't touch it as long as I've got it covered. And that's what I'm doing here, just keeping it covered. And then I can harvest the little tiny potatoes when it dies back in the winter. It doesn't like cold weather, but boy, it loves the heat. Give it 110, 115 degrees, and it just thrives. Malabar spinach. Oh, look, we've got berries already. I can add that to my green drink. I think it will. We'll turn it red. But I have a special green drink, so I don't have to worry about any seeds and stuff, and I'll show you one day soon. All right, and then through here, all this has got to be trimmed. That's milkweed. There's peppers. I harvested peppers off the other day. Oh, there's another one. It was getting not enough sun. It was lacking sun. See, but it's full of peppers. It's all through here, peppers. So what we did was Gary took down the fig tree. It's starting to come back, but he's going to take, I think, the whole thing down this winter, and we're going to open the wall up. So we're going to change this around. He's waiting for me to move my purple tree collar, and then he'll take it to the ground. But this way I'll have sun here up against the house, and I'll be able to really grow peppers better. And I can create shade as I need instead of the fig tree creating too much shade. Let's walk over here, and then we'll come back and wrap this up. Gary and I, oh, look at my friendly bee. I don't know if you can see him. That's my horseshoe-like carpenter bee. And they're friendly. They actually know you. They're so weird. I hope you can see them. They have personalities. Anyways, let's go back to this. Gary and I are going to have a big discussion on this, because I don't think this is going to work. And you'll see if I can get him in the morning out here when he has coffee with me to talk about it. Because though I do love it, I want to produce food someplace for me because I share so much with nature, and I get plenty of food. But we'll talk about this maybe in the next day or two, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I've got all my totes set up regardless. So I've got those now breaking down. I'll plant when I'm ready. This is all potatoes, and I had rabbits getting in there or squirrels, so I covered it with the baskets, and look, they're taking off and growing again. That's why I didn't get potatoes. They were eating the tops, and we have to have the greens in order to get potatoes. And then I'm going to do a separate video on the dog kennel, but I'm just starting to set it up. And we got 1/4-inch wire. I'll show you where I got it. It was cheap, and how we're going to do this, because this is going to be done differently than anything else on the property. It's not a greenhouse, though. It could be easily converted to a greenhouse, and we'll do that separate, or I'll be here for an hour. The backside of the rainbow garden. That's broccoli, and I've been taking the tips off and breaking them off and eating them as I come out here. And look at this. Look at the tomatillos. Look at this. Is that beautiful? I love that. Do you know I still have a big bag in the freezer from last year, and I'm going to have a whole bunch more. Pretty soon they'll be full, and then I can pick them, and then I can freeze them. And they're just perfect. You just freeze them. You want to freeze them with the wrapper, you can leave the wrapper, or you can wash it and put them in plastic bags. And I'll see about getting to this. See, the strawberries they're usually bigger than that, but they're so tiny. It is overcrowded, though, so I'm going to thin it out. Is there any here? I've got another plant that grows beautiful strawberries. I had one the other day, and that was a sea gate. This is not. So we'll see what I'm going to do with strawberries, because I'm not going to even think that far ahead yet. All this is tomatillos. I should have another big super bag of tomatillos. And then here too, more tomatillos growing. Isn't that cool? And then this is milkweed, and then there's pepinos in here. That's pepinos back there. Onions, which are done. They went to seed. More pepinos. Look at this. Red bean sorrel. And I need to get a lot of the milkweed, the small ones. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a lot of ladybugs. Now, the reason I have a lot of ladybugs in there is, and there's more. Here's another ladybug right here. See that? That's why I don't want to cut it down yet. They're full of aphids, and these yellow ones only go to the tropical milkweed I've got here. It's the only thing that they attack. They don't touch any other plant. So I'm in not a big hurry, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have to go soon. Once I know there's no monarchs around and they're done and they're migrated and done what they're supposed to do, and there's less going on, you take it all the way to the ground. And I don't compost the milkweed. I actually throw it out. I just want to throw it out due to all the insects and different reasons. I mean, I could, but I have to make sure it really gets black. And I don't know, just something we do. We just cut it and that goes out in the trash. Just the milkweed. And well, mint does too, because you don't want to spread milk. Look at that. These are all, oh my goodness. I don't know if you can see that, but that is the start of the ladybird or ladybug right there. So that's why I don't want to get rid of any of this right now, because it's loaded with ladybugs. Let me step back. And then it gives them a food source. Otherwise, if I chop that out, there's very little aphis around here because the wrens eat everything. But the wrens I don't think the wrens eat that. I shouldn't say that because I've seen the wrens in there, but since it's not cleaned up, I bet you they don't like the taste of the yellow one, but the ladybugs will eat it. So I'm going to leave that for the ladybugs. Then I've got more walking onions, and again, hummingbird lunch and more walking onions back there. Looking to see if there's ladybugs. Oh gosh, yeah, there's ladybugs all over the place. All right, let's turn back here. Then I've got my pizza garden, and I've been making a lot of pizza lately. Got my rosemary, my thyme, my basil. Basil will die back when it gets cold. My sage, my oregano. So everything is growing in here, and it's just beautiful, beautiful. What I do with the flowers, I'm actually going to make a green drink this morning, is I snap off the flowers and I put that in my green drink. And this keeps the plant producing too. So I go through here, take all the flowers off, unless I'm cooking something. I made something the other day, that casserole that I don't even know what it was. Thank goodness I did take pictures of it. And so I remember, because sometimes I forget, how'd you do that? I don't remember. So I took a lot of pictures as I was building it, notes for myself, and Gary said it was so good. So I just used a little bit of everything from the garden and baked it up. And wow, I had leftovers, but the next day it was gone. Well, we know who ate that in the morning. So it was really good. More turmeric. And then this plant, this is a type of geranium. It actually prefers a little bit of shade. So something like that may work in the bird garden, where the other geraniums, they really like full sun. And I propagate all those. But if you move them out of the full sun, or at least a lot of sun, they don't make it. Oh, look at my peppers. Been harvesting that. I didn't take the dry one off. Well, I'll take it off later. Maybe I'll plant the seeds or save the seeds. So I've been harvesting peppers off of that. And then here again, see, I'll get that with more sun once the fig tree is completely gone, and that will be really good. So we've kind of spun around. We saw everything there is to see. You can't see. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can zoom in and you can see them on the top there. I don't think you can. The hummingbird is waiting for me. I hope they're not out of food. There he goes, right there in the middle. I don't know if it's focused on him or not. Sometimes my camera will focus behind. He's waiting and watching me. I've got a lot of thinking to do as the garden season ceases, though I've got a lot of, there's a whole bunch of hummingbirds. Okay, I'm going to have to go check the feeders, because that's what they do. They start flying around and sitting and staring at me. I had one that was hitting me in the head one day. I'm going to have to do a lot of thinking of how I want to do it, because I want to grow in every garden. The only one I'm really dismantling right now will be the wall, because I want Gary to be able to get wood chips if he wants, and it will be less work, because that wall is a lot of work. The walking to water it and service it, where the chair garden that's way back there is nothing. This is nothing. I just take the hose, boom, I'm done, and then just walk through when I want. But when you have something that's that whole length, I don't know what it is. 300, 400 feet. It's a lot of walking to take care of something that can be compact and grow more even in a smaller spot, because you'll have more control than having it that much in the open. Not to say I won't stick a container there and grow watermelon in the summer next year. I mean, I can always do that. And then I'm thinking about this too, because this has just been so great for the squirrels, the birds, everything that just come sit here, because the birds are eating up all my greens and they're really hurting the plant when they nibble on it that much. And that's been an issue. So we'll work it out. But I think that is going to be something that everybody and anybody can use. If you've got any garden challenges, the way I'm going to set that up should work really good, and it could get rid of almost every challenge you've got. Nothing's 100%, but I think that one's going to be the one that's going to be really the way to go for the average person that just wants a small garden, because you can take a small spot and you can grow a ton of food. Then you can take a large spot and grow a lot and get very little because it's just too overwhelming to take care of. And while I want to make my life easier, but I also want to make it enjoyable. So that's why I'm doing this, to see if I can get you all to garden. We all have to garden. We all have to get some good food. Oh, he hid. He saw me. There's a ladybug under here. Oh, there he goes. He's rushing. He's going to go. He sees me and he's hiding. We all should garden something, even if it's just herbs to add to our food so we get the right nutrients, because too much of our food these days have been treated. And when it's treated, we're not getting what we need to digest our food. So even if we get a little bit along with store-bought, that's going to help us out a lot. Anyways, I don't want to start getting into all that. I know, and that's why I grow for us and for anybody that wants. And I think that's just the way to go. So with that, have a wonderful day. Oh my gosh, that tunnel is beautiful, but we'll see. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Boy, I think I talked too long, didn't I? And if you haven't liked and subscribed, or at least subscribe, go ahead and subscribe, because subscribing really supports our channel. And this way YouTube knows, hey, they're good. We'll let them stick around longer. So go ahead and subscribe if you've got an account. I understand if you don't, you can't. Look at, there he is up there. He ran up there, didn't he? That might be the same one. The other one was running all over. Anyways, I got to go check the hummingbirds, because they are sitting there screaming now. And I think that is a message for me. See all of them? Letting me know that their feeders, or the ones that they like, don't have any food. So I'm going to go do that. Have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. I wish the camera would pick it up. There's hummingbirds everywhere. So I did a real quick repair. I just brought out some tulle. I cut a piece off and I used a hot glue gun, and I just glued a piece of tulle on the front. Now remember, this hood is like 3 or 4 years old, so the tulle has been sun beaten and eventually starting to wear out. But it's going to do the job until those cabbages are ready, and that's it. So it's easy to repair, though maybe I should have just made a new one, but this will work for now. So the patchwork should keep out the cabbage butterflies as well as maybe some aphids.